Right, hello everybody. So the game we're reviewing today is Teleglitch, and what Teleglitch is a top-down roguelike, which is similar to the twin stick arcade shooters and other indie games like Enter the Gungeon and Hotline Miami, and it is a very, very hard game. It's comparable to Dark Souls. Well, people compare anything that's hard to Dark Souls really these days, and I'm not sure about whether or not you should really compare it to Dark Souls, because that's not a fair comparison, but it is quite a tricky game. Now, do I recommend it? I would only recommend it if you enjoy survival horror, where it's genuinely very, very hard to survive. It's very hard to recommend for casual gamer and most good gamers, so keep that in mind. The difficulty curve, very, very steep. So, the price, £9, it's generally sometimes on sale, and a lot of people got it free a long time ago, because it came with Humble Bundle stuff, if I recall correctly. It's kind of abandoned nowadays by the developers. It was published by Paradox, so, you know, it's a good game. It's often been called lo-fi, and that is because the aesthetic of it is harking back to Atari style games, and this is especially noticeable in the box cover for it, which is similar to Atari box covers. And the design of it is actually quite good. I will point out one thing: the inventory design, it's a little bit different to get used to. It's kind of comparable to Hotbars, Minecraft I suppose, that's a good comparison, but it's really more of like a list you scroll through, and it's quite difficult, not difficult, but quite difficult to get used to. That's the way to describe that, difficult to get used to. And in the same vein, the crafting mechanic for it is pretty simple. You know, it doesn't require going to a wiki. You can press escape, you know, just go into your info, look at the recipes you've already found. It's right there, you know. You don't have to go to the Wikipedia, you don't have to, it's just right there. Just put it there. The enemy AI is quite good. Can get stuff behind doors sometimes, that is one thing I have noted, but generally all around it's very good. It's very realistic to how the enemy would feel. The fiction for the game though, that's one point which I have to say is really, really phenomenal. It's quite good. I really, really enjoy it. I'll give you an example here. The zombies in the game, they are actually workers, and it's very, very interesting. It's very, very, very nice. DRM-free, that's a point. A lot of people get fussy about DRM-free. If you go into the properties in Steam, you can find, you know, you can find where it is stored in your computer. And you can see that all the lure code is there, all the graphics are there, all the sound effects too, and the credits to the free sounds they use, and easy to modify. So, you know, it does have a modding team, got a couple mods out there. I haven't looked at them, I can't verify their quality. I've heard good things, I might take a look at them at some point. Maybe, who knows. Speaking of sound effects, the sound design for this game is quality. It is spectacular. There is no music though. Yeah, there's no music, but the sound design, it really makes up for it, I'd say. Because when you're going down a corridor and you hear a footstep, sometimes you're thinking, were these my footsteps? Or were these an enemy who's going to be down behind that door, patrolling around? And it's very good in that aspect. It really builds up the tension. And then sometimes you have the noises it generates, you know, drowning out noises, so you're not quite sure she's hearing steps out there, out behind the door. It's very good in that respect. But yeah, generally brutally difficult. Brutally difficult. I have heard that some people have issues getting it to run in the Steam discussions page. I didn't have any issues running it, but it did seem to be abandoned, so, you know, you might need to rely on other people commenting in the discussion to help you out there. The randomization for it, it claimed to be procedurally generated, and that's true, but it's a very simple procedural generation. It's not linear, that's for certain. It creates a different layout. It has a selection of modules to pick from, and it creates a different layout each time. So it's very. There might be an example out there, but I'm struggling to think of one. Binding of Isaac might be a good example. Binding of Isaac just takes a whole bunch, like it has a huge table of modules, and for each room it selects one of those modules and just uses that. That's a good example for it. But generally it's a very difficult game. Now, the game does have one DLC. It's technically a music soundtrack DLC type thing, you know, how Steam games often have their soundtrack included, you know, if they want to, they can just buy the soundtrack. Usually it's like a couple of quid. Well, for this case it's Guns and Tunes, which is £1. All included is a selection of starter kits, for like random starter kits, just 5 music tracks. I had to listen to them, they're alright I guess. I mean, they're nothing spectacular. They're just acceptable. The one point I will make here though, is that the music tracks, they don't actually play in game. They have to be played through a Steam music player, or you have to find them locally, wherever they're stored. And that is a point which I would say is pretty bad and pretty lazy, and you might not even want to be having them playing in the background, because the sound design is so important in this, for knowing if there's an enemy nearby, and for knowing what is going on nearby, that I'm not going to recommend music. So it's hard to recommend that DLC unless you really want to support the style or just support the game, you know. So is it a game I recommend? Yes, I recommend it, but only if that small niche it is targeted towards. Otherwise, it is very, very, very hard to recommend it to you. So yeah, that's my review of Teleglitch. I'll probably keep a bit of gameplay going on for a little bit. Yeah, I recommend it if you enjoy the niche. But if you don't enjoy the niche, don't even try. Don't even get into it. Don't even touch it. Well, that's all. I'll see you next time. Bye.